Hi, everybody. Bryant Greening from LegalRideshare. I am here today with Dr. Eugene Zhao from La Clinica. Dr. Zhao, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's nice to see you again. We spoke a couple months ago, and I wanted to reintroduce our audience and followers to exactly what you guys are doing at La Clinica and get some up-to-date news.
So La Clinica is an injury clinic. We're mostly in Hispanic areas of Chicago, and we treat people who are injured, work injuries, personal injuries, mostly car accidents, sports injuries, all types of injuries, muscle, tendon, ligament, bones. That stuff tends to get to speak in layman's terms, gets stretched out, gets torn, broken bones. So we treat all that, and we try to provide a complete service. So therapy, medical doctor, chiropractic, orthopedic surgeon consult when necessary, and X-rays. We have partnerships with MRIs and other diagnostic testing that are necessary for these types of injuries.
So you're kind of a one-stop shop. If you need medical attention, somebody can come to you and you can give them everything they need.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's what we've tried to develop throughout the years for sure.
So most of my clients are people who have been injured in car accidents. We deal a lot with the rideshare community, Uber and Lyft drivers. We're now in the delivery world, and Grubhub, Uber Eats, things like that. A lot of times people don't initially complain of injury, don't feel it right after the crash, and then feel it a couple days later. Can you give a little insight as to why that may be?
Yeah, a lot of times people are generally like nervous after an accident. For most of us, it doesn't happen all the time, Brian. It happens once every 2, 3, 5, 10 years, 15 years, and we're just kind of in shock. So perhaps we have an adrenaline rush where we kind of freeze up and make sure everything's fine. Hey, what's going on? What happened to my car? Are you okay? The person next to you, and we don't. That adrenaline causes us not to feel certain things. We're in the what they call the flight or fight mode. So, but once that adrenaline goes down, you may start feeling some aches and pain, depending on how the collision occurred and how fast it was and how much damage.
So a lot of times people feel the symptoms days later, and they're not really sure what to do, whether they need to go see a doctor, whether they can just kind of wait it out and see what happens. What do you recommend if you've been in an accident and you're starting to feel some aches and pains?
If you start to feel some aches and pains that are unusual, they stop you or they don't allow you to perform your day-to-day activities well, go get checked out. A lot of times we may bump our head or feel something discomfort in our internal organs, our bellies, our abdominal area, and we think, oh, it's okay. But you had a car accident. It's good to get checked out for something like that, possibly even the emergency room, so they can run some diagnostic studies that can't be ran in the office.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, look, I'm not a doctor, but I see enough of these cases that I know it's important to at least get that initial checkup. And if you never go again, no problem. But at least you've got confirmation that everything's intact. There's not anything serious that may be latent or unknown at the time. And then if you continue to have symptoms, or if the symptoms don't get better, you've at least started the process. You've ingrained yourself in a medical practice. You can get that follow-up appointment perhaps easier than the initial appointment, and you can then start the road to recovery much faster. From a legal perspective, it's really important to start that initial treatment so that you can show the insurance companies at play that there's causation. And by that, I mean the accident caused the injury. If you wait too long, if you have a week or 2 weeks or more between the date of an accident and your first date of treatment, it gives the insurance company reasonable deniability, or they could say, well, how do we know something else didn't happen to cause these injuries? For that reason, I say get in, day after, next day, and try to just get that checkup so you know what's going on.
Yeah, Brian, I think that a lot of times people just don't know where to start. Do I go see a lawyer? Do I go see a doctor? Who's going to pay for it? All those things come up. I don't have any insurance. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't have insurance, and they're afraid to see what the bills are because a lot of times they just no one posts their bill. This is what it's going to cost for emergency room or for your doctor's visit. So, and then they won't go. They're like, okay, I'm fine.
Well, and that's where La Clinica can come into play as well. I know you see lots of patients that don't have health insurance, and you're willing to wait for payment from the end of an insurance claim at, from a motor vehicle collision. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So basically, we're in blue collar neighborhoods, and unfortunately, a lot of blue collar neighborhoods, a lot of people don't have insurance. And yes, we look for all forms of payments to in order to get reimbursed for our care. But we also understand that some people will have to wait, and that's quite a bit of people actually. Will have to wait until their care is done, their claim is settled by you, and then we can receive payment. And we usually try to be reasonable, especially for people with lower income.
Dr. Zhao, you made the point that a lot of times people don't know where to turn. That's where it's so important to get a consultation from a lawyer, to make the phone call to the doctor's office, because we're professionals that see accident and injury claims all the time, and we can point you in the right direction. My job is to make the strongest possible insurance claim that I can against the at-fault driver, and tell you how to cross the T's and dot your I's to make sure that you do get compensated for your medical bills, your lost wages, your pain and suffering. And then on your side, you're willing to see that patient with the understanding that there's a lawyer who's working on their behalf, and you feel comfortable. Yes, we can provide the treatment, and we're going to get paid at the end of the day.
Absolutely. We want to help you. We want to help the people in our neighborhoods. And it's so easy for you and I. We understand this matter. A lot of people who aren't facing this on a day-to-day basis, they don't know what to do. And we do a lot of counseling. We sit down with people first, like you do, and we talk to them about which direction they can take. First of all, we talk to them about what their injuries could be, and what kind of care they're going to require. And then we sit down with them also and explain to them the process. And a lot of times they don't have to pay anything out of their own pocket.
Right.
And they don't know.
No, that the point that you just made about them not knowing exactly what care they're going to need or what their injuries are, that's vital information. So a lot of times people say, well, my neck's bothering me. I think it's just whiplash. It'll be fine in a day or two. And then they find a week later that pain is persisting or changing. Whereas if they went into the doctor right away, they could have gotten the care that they needed, the diagnosis that they needed to be on the path to recovery much quicker.
Absolutely. And a lot of times people don't realize that their injuries could cause also issues down the road if they're not handled correctly now.
What are some of the dangers of leaving an injury untreated?
Let's say some people already have some neck pain. Let's say someone my age, 49, 50. Every once in a while I get a little neck pain, and it takes me a week or two to get better. But now they suffer this car accident. Now they've had these changes already in their neck, and they're made worse. And we use the terminology, it could be an aggravation of something that happened before. So it's made worse than it was before. Now it requires more care than just a simple, perhaps therapy or adjustment or just exercises or rest. Now it may require more intensive therapy, medication, and or possibly even an injection if there's a herniated disc. Now it went from a small disc injury to a disc injury, which is more obvious, and now what we call symptomatic. It was dormant, very quiet, and then now it's become very, very hot.
Right. We get those questions all the time. I get calls from clients and potential clients that say, I was involved in this accident, but I have pre-existing neck or back conditions, and I'm worried that that's going to negatively affect my case. And in Illinois, we just need to prove that the condition was aggravated, like you said, or caused to become worse. So the terms that we use in the law are symptomatic or asymptomatic to symptomatic, just like, as you said, dormant to symptomatic. If we can show that you used to be a 3 out of 10 and the accident happened and now you're a 6 out of 10, well, that's compensable as a new injury, and you're entitled to compensation, and you're entitled to payment for the medical treatment that you required as a result of that aggravation or that increase in symptoms.
And that's something that you and I have talked about in the past too. Sorry, Bryant.
Yeah.
To make sure we document at La Clinica what pain level they were at before, what kind of impediments they had before, and how does that compare to what they have now? Because sometimes it's difficult for someone to tease it out. They may not even notice it. Patients may be like, "Well, I had a little pain." Well, we need to be able to measure what that little pain was, and then measure what the pain is after the impact.
And the histories that patients give to doctors are also very important in terms of the legal claim. So if you can explain, well, I used to have, some dull aches and now I've got tingling down my arm, those descriptions can really highlight for the doctor what change there is in your condition. And then it highlights for the lawyer how we can prove this aggravation. That's not the same issue that you were dealing with before. Neck pain isn't neck pain if the symptoms change. And the more information you give to the doctor, the more information you give to the lawyer, the stronger your claim is going to be.
Yeah, and it's definitely a condition made worse. If like you described, if you had neck pain, which we call axial neck pain, just pain just in the middle of your neck or in the middle of your spine, and now a lot of people can't even tie it together either. They're like, well, now I have pain or numbness in my hand. I didn't have that before. But we can see if that neck pain is related to the symptoms you're having in your hands or your arm or your elbow.
Right. So how would a potential patient reach out to you? How do you find out if there's an available appointment or if you're the right doctor or clinic for them to see?
Sure. Most people today they just go online. Our name is La Clinica. We're La Clinica Injury Clinic, so they can just look us up online. All our locations are available there. They can make a one call to one central number that we have, and the people there are ready to take your information, give you some guidance. We usually have a free consultation either over the phone or you come to the office and speak to the doctor. And then you decide whether you want to become a patient or not. We explain to you what the process is. We don't try to hard sell anybody. Oh, you need care, you need care. We try to convince them why they need care, and if they want to follow through with it, then they will. And like you mentioned in the beginning, it's important to, if you feel like something is not normal, something doesn't seem right after the first couple of days, get checked out either at La Clinica, go to your ER, go to your family medicine doctor. After you do that, and you still have some pain, come to us and we'll be more than happy to take a look at it into it some more.
What I love about you guys is how many locations you have. Everybody in the city has a location nearby, so there's really no excuse.
Absolutely. We're in the city, the suburbs. We started mostly in Hispanic areas of Chicago. We're looking to open up a few more offices in those areas and then hopefully expand to others, because I really truly believe that our services are something that our people look for in the communities. They don't want to go far to travel. If someone needs therapy, they don't want to travel 20, 30 minutes from their home. They want to go somewhere in the neighborhood. And we open these little practices where we provide physical therapy. We have medical doctors coming in once a week. We have surgical consultations either at that location or somewhere near. So we try to make it convenient for people to follow through with care.
Great. Well, doctor, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the information you've been able to share with us today. And we will certainly be in touch soon.
Yeah. And thank you for all the good information you provide to the public. I think it's great. And you guys are doing a great job. Appreciate it.